This video will show you how to split matrices in different ways. Please use the timeline to jump to your specific problem, or watch the whole video to get a short overview of how you can split matrices or extract specific parts of it. The first thing you might want to do is to split a matrix like this into equally sized parts. So for example, a matrix with 8 rows could split into 4 submatrices where each matrix contains 2 rows. Just type in np-split, the matrix name as a parameter, and specify how many submatrices you want to get. So I want to get 4. And as we can see, we got 4 arrays. This means 4 matrices. And each matrix contains 2 rows. The first matrix are the first 2 rows, the next rows. This also means that you cannot use a value like 5 in this case, because our matrix only got 8 rows and you cannot divide 8 by 5 without not getting an integer. If you want to split the matrix column-wise, like this, so you get a matrix with the first 2 columns, then a matrix with the third and fourth column, and a matrix with the last columns. You can specify the axis, because on default mode it is axis 0, so always row-wise. But now if we say we want axis 1 and 3 submatrices, we can see that we get the first 2 columns, then the next columns, and the last columns. You can also see that the result is an array of arrays. So you might ask how to actually extract one array and use it as a normal numpy matrix. Well, if you, for example, want to get the first matrix with these columns, you can just say matrix equals matrix index 0. And if you execute this, we can see that we get the first 2 columns matrix. So the np-split method works on each axis. If you want to use only one axis, you can also say that you want to split vertically. Well, this means that you want to split row-wise, so you cannot use 3 as a value because we got 8 rows. But if you now execute it with the value of 2, we can see that we get the first 4 rows and the last 4 rows separated. The same thing with h-split. H-split is like using split with axis 1, so we can separate columns. And here we got 2 matrices. The first matrix containing the first 3 columns, and the second matrix contains the last columns. If you want to split the matrix on specific indices, so for example, you want the first 2 rows in a matrix, then the next 4 rows in a matrix, and 2 times just 1 row, like this, you can again use np-split or np-v-split. So I will choose np-split. And now I can insert an array with the indices where I want to split. So in this case, I want the first 2 rows in the first matrix, and the next matrix begins with the row with index 2. So insert 2. Then we got index 3, 4, 5, 6. So the next matrix starts at 6. And then the last matrix starts at index 7, so we add 7 as an index in our list. And when we now execute it, we can see that the first matrix contains the first 2 rows, the next 4 rows, and then 2 matrices only containing 1 row each. So exactly like here. You could have also used v-split for this, just to show you it, and it is the exact same result. If we now want to split the matrix as presented here, so the first 2 columns in one matrix, then the next column in one matrix, and the rest in the last matrix, we can use np-split or np-h-split. I will use np-h-split to demonstrate it. Matrix, and then the indices. So now we got indices 0, 1, 2, so we insert 2, and 3, so we insert 3, and execute it. And we can see that we got the first 2 columns in one matrix, then the next, and the last columns. What happens if you insert 0 at the beginning of the list? Because you might think that the first matrix starts at column 0. Well, we just get the same result, so you can spare it. Earlier we saw methods that split matrices into submatrices and creating an array of arrays. But what if you want to extract some rows directly or columns directly without using the splits methods? Well, we can do it by just using the Python integrated indexing. So if I want to extract these two rows, I can use indexing by using these brackets. And then I want to start at 3, get everything until we arrive index 5. So we start at index 3, take index 4, so only 3 and 4 are in this expression. And now what happens with the columns? Well, we take all columns, so we just say we just type this symbol. Now, not forget the matrix name, and let's execute it. And as you can see, we got the rows containing the 4s and 5s, so the rows with index 3 and 4 with this expression. Now, what if we want to get the two middle columns? I change the values to prove it, like that. So we want the columns in the middle. Well, we just take the complete column and only want to get the columns with index 2 and 3. We just type in 2, this symbol, and 4. If we execute it, we can see that we exactly got the columns with the 8 here, so the middle ones. What if I want to split the matrix exactly into the half, so I get the upper rows and the lower rows, or I want to extract exactly the upper half, but I don't know how big my matrix is? Well, I can just take everything until matrix shape 0 divided by 2. I use 2 symbols because then I'm sure I get an integer value and not, and I take everything from the rows. So if I could execute this now, I can see that I get exactly what I wanted. If you want the lower half of the matrix, you just take this symbol, put it at the end, execute it, and you get the lower half. Of course, you can just flip this expression with this expression, change the 0 to 1, and you can split it in half column-wise.